90-Day Fiancé. Jenny and Sumit open up about intimacy challenges after moving in with his mom. 90-Day Fiancé stars. Jenny and Sumit recently opened up about the reality of sharing a home with his mother. They explained how the lack of privacy has made it difficult for the couple to enjoy quality time as husband and wife. Apparently, their bedroom life has been badly affected, and things are no longer the same. Sumit and Jenny
Now this is our
tried their
house.
best to keep the spark
This is
alive
our new
and
house.
have a great
Yes.
bedroom life.
I like what you've done
Is
with
this
it. It
bad?
looks...
What did the couple do? How are they managing their bedroom life? Keep on reading to learn more about it. 90-Day Fiancé cast is loving Sumit and Jenny's spark for each other. Sumit and Jenny are coming up
Nice.
as an example for other 90-Day Fiancé couples. As
The
their
movers
spark
are
is still
here.
very evident.
Are they
She kind of admitted that she wanted to have the same sex drive at the age of 65. Even Kara noted that she was loving the way Sumit still wanted Jenny, and they were having a great bedroom life. Kara wished that she would also have such kind of sexual intimacy when she also reaches Jenny's age. Even Guillermo admitted that it would be great. Rebecca pointed out how difficult it could have been for Sumit and Jenny to have intimacy with family.
Okay.
She felt that she could never really adjust to that. 90-Day Fiancé. Jenny and Sumit reflect on intimacy challenges. 90-Day Fiancé star Sumit Singh told the therapist that he didn't like change when it comes to bedroom life. He doesn't always want to do it in bed. The celeb explained that there are times when he sees Jenny working in the kitchen, and all of a sudden, he is turned on by her. Sumit didn't hesitate to accept that he gets an erection when he sees Jenny. In an exclusive clip by Extra TV, the therapist asked Sumit and Jenny whether they had intimacy in the kitchen or not. However, Jenny revealed that Sumit's mother was in the kitchen, so they couldn't have any kind of sexual act in the kitchen at all. She admitted that it takes a lot of creativity for them to keep the spark alive. Sumit recalled how he used to shut Jenny's mouth and prevent her from making a lot of noise. The latter revealed that she was allowed to moan, but Sumit chimed in and reminded her of how she scratches his back. Jenny then prayed that Sumit's parents were not watching the show, as they had already revealed many NSFW details. Jenny admitted that she was a tigress at the moment who was hiding. Fans and the entire cast were really impressed by the way Sumit and Jenny were still attracted to each other. These two are clearly in love, and viewers believe that they are the most wholesome couple of the franchise. What do you think? Do let us know in the comments section. 90-Day Fiancé. Sumit Singh wants to join Zero NLEF at NS. After Kara's success, Jenny roasts his tiny bee Mew TT. 90-Day Fiancé star Sumit Singh seems so impressed with his co-star Kara's success on the adult platform that he is considering joining himself. He doesn't mind giving it a shot to bring in some extra cash. Well, Jenny agreed that it could even solve their financial troubles and encouraged her husband to post butt photos. However, she couldn't resist poking fun at her husband for his small butt during the lighthearted conversation. The TLC couple's hilarious exchange made fans wonder whether Sumit is really ready to launch his OnlyFans career. Fans have been watching his totally different side on The Last Resort Season 3. The reality TV star has been receiving so much love for his fun-loving and innocent personality. Jenny and Sumit have been showing their crazy side on the show. Are they really joining OF? 90-Day Fiancé, fans tagged Sumit and Jenny as the most innocent couple of the show. Sumit Singh and Jenny Slatten always received love from 90-Day Fiancé for their sweet personalities. They rarely fought with any cast members or stirred any drama for attention. The TLC stars faced major challenges in their marriage over the past few seasons. Jenny and Sumit are walking on thin ice at The Last Resort Season 3. But Jenny and Sumit do not appear to be losing their spark, and are called the most innocent couple on the show. Fans felt they were a breath of fresh air, unlike the other couples, which were full of drama and fake storylines. They loved to see the TLC stars joking and having fun in their bedroom like teenagers. Sumit excitedly showed Jenny the large bed, and they were excited to have fun. The former has been leaving no chance to express his love for his wife. 90-Day Fiancé. Jenny roasts Sumit for joining adult platform. Sumit Singh is quite intrigued by his co-star Kara, earning dollars for posting NSFW pictures. He even considered giving it a shot to earn some extra bucks. The 90-Day Fiancé star stated, "Kara said there was a lot of money. We are struggling with money. Should we do that too?" Jenny chose not to burst the bubble and played along. She wondered if it would help them move out of Sumit's parents' house. She told him to start posting right now and threw him at the bed. Sumit joked that he had a small butt and he couldn't post anything on social media. But Jenny was adamant that he should try it and started taking photos of his back. She joked about how much money she could make from that. Fans loved the TLC couple's sense of humor and liked how genuine they are. One fan said, "Who knew Jenny and Sumit would end up being one of the realest couples of the franchise?" Another user admitted that his favorite moment was when Jenny woke up the next morning and told Sumit he had already earned $10. Others loved the way she tossed him on the bed and played along. Some viewers loved seeing their playfulness and appreciated that they kept their inner child alive. Fans genuinely want the 90 Day Fiancé stars to last together. 90 Day Fiancé, Jenny Slatten's ALS diagnosis stemmed from fan concern over viral video. Jenny Slatten announced that she's been diagnosed with ALS. Her husband, Sumit Singh, confirmed that a video interview with our sister site Swoon is ultimately what led to the diagnosis. Fans began expressing concerns over Slatten's health after the video was published in December 2025. Jenny Slatten shared the devastating news that she has been diagnosed with amyotrophic lateral sclerosis, ALS, on May 19th, and it was an interview with our sister site Swoon that ultimately pushed her husband, Sumit Singh, to start researching the possibility that she could have the neurodegenerative disease. The 90 Day Fiancé star stopped by our studio for a video interview with Swoon in December 2025. After seeing the footage, fans began expressing concern about Slatten's health, mostly due to her slurred speech in the interview. Many speculated that Slatten had a stroke, but one commenter suggested that ALS could be the actual diagnosis, and that caught Singh's attention. He began to look into the disease, for which there is no cure. "And then I find out that these symptoms she was having, this is what it looks like," he told People. Slatten's father died from ALS more than a decade ago. Singh took his wife to a neurologist, and at first it was believed that she may have had a little clot in her brain. A second opinion confirmed the ALS diagnosis. "There was a rumor that I had a stroke, but it turned out to be ALS," Slatten wrote on Instagram. "At first, we tried to keep it private because it's been very emotional and overwhelming for us. We were hoping to find some kind of solution before speaking publicly, but after trying for some time, we feel like it's time to reach out. Thank you so much for all the love and support. Right now, we are open to any kind of help treatments, clinical trials, lifestyle changes, or anything that could help treat this disease or slow down its progression." When fans first began voicing their concern for Slatten at the end of 2025, her daughter Christina insisted, "My mom is okay. She's doing well. We are doing everything that we can to make sure that she's healthy and that she continues to do well. We hear all of you guys, we see all of you guys, and we want to thank you for your concern." 90 Day Fiancé star Jenny Slatten gives update on ALS progression after announcing diagnosis 90 Day Fiancé. Star Jenny Slatten shared a positive update on her health after, "I'm still able to walk around and Sumit is still allowed to smile." She wrote atop a selfie of her and her husband, Sumit Singh, on her Instagram stories Wednesday. The couple appeared to be in high spirits as they continued to seek out treatment for the disease that is currently incurable. Why? 90 Day Fiancé, the Other Ways storyline, with Jenny and Sumit feels like the opposite of the spin-off's premise. I'll keep it in a natural YouTube commentary / news script style, with no scene directions, and make it long enough for 10+ minutes. When you say, next, I'll give you part 2. Part 1. When 90 Day Fiancé, The Other Way first premiered, the entire concept of the spin-off felt refreshingly different from the original franchise. Instead of international partners moving to the United States and trying to adapt to American life, The Other Way flipped the formula. It was supposed to be about Americans leaving their comfort zones, relocating to another country, and building a new life in their partner's world. That reversal was the entire point. It promised culture shock, emotional sacrifices, language barriers, family adjustments, financial struggles, and all the complicated realities that come with one person giving up everything familiar in order to make love work abroad. But over time, one couple in particular has come to represent something very different from that original idea. And that couple is Jenny Slatten and Sumit Singh. Jenny and Sumit have become one of the most recognizable pairs in the 90 Day Fiancé universe. Their story has stretched across multiple seasons, multiple spin-offs, countless arguments, emotional reunions, family confrontations, and the kind of relationship twists that keep fans talking long after an episode ends. They've had catfishing drama, age gap controversy, parental disapproval, marriage resistance, cultural pressure, and all the emotional chaos reality television thrives on. On paper, they should be the perfect the other way couple, because Jenny really did leave the United States to be with Sumit in India. She made a huge life change, and at first glance, that seems to fit the spin-off's core idea perfectly. But the longer their story continues, the more it feels like Jenny and Sumit are no longer representing the premise of the other way at all. In fact, their storyline increasingly feels like the opposite of what the show was originally designed to explore. That's what makes their presence on the spin-off so interesting. The issue isn't that Jenny and Sumit are boring, or that they don't have enough drama to justify screen time. If anything, their storyline has survived for so many years, precisely because there's always another conflict waiting around the corner. The real issue is that their relationship has gradually shifted away from the original, the other way framework and into something much more circular, much more repetitive, and much less about adapting to life in another country than it is about avoiding any real change at all. Instead of watching two people fully commit to building a life together in India, viewers often feel like they're watching a couple trapped in a loop, one where the same problems keep resurfacing, the same fears keep getting voiced, and the same decisions keep getting postponed. To understand why Jenny and Sumit now feel so disconnected from the premise of the other way, it helps to go back to what made their story compelling in the first place. Jenny was not just another cast member looking for adventure. She was an older American woman who had fallen in love with a much younger Indian man after a deeply complicated online relationship that began under dishonest circumstances. Sumit had catfished her at the beginning, presenting himself as someone else online before eventually revealing the truth. That alone was enough to make viewers question whether the relationship had any real future. But somehow, despite the deception, the heartbreak, and the glaring differences between them, Jenny stayed emotionally invested. She believed in Sumit. She believed their love was real. And most importantly, she was willing to leave her life behind in the United States to pursue that love in India. That decision fit the other way perfectly. Jenny was taking a huge personal risk. She was moving to a country where she would be entirely dependent on Sumit emotionally, and in many ways, practically. She would have to adjust to a completely different culture, different expectations, different family dynamics, and a very different social environment. There was vulnerability in that setup, there was tension, there was sacrifice, there was a sense that Jenny was truly stepping into the unknown. Viewers could understand the emotional stakes because the other way has always worked best when it highlights how difficult it is to uproot your entire life for love. But as the seasons went on, Jenny and Sumit's storyline stopped feeling like a story about relocation and adaptation and started feeling like a story about resistance. Not resistance to each other necessarily, but resistance to progression. That's a very different thing. Instead of watching the natural next chapter of their relationship unfold, viewers kept being pulled back into the same unresolved conflict. Sumit's inability or unwillingness to fully detach from his family's expectations and embrace the married life he claimed he wanted with Jenny. That conflict has always been central to their story, but at some point it stopped being one obstacle among many and became the entire structure of their relationship. And that's where the disconnect with the other way begins. The premise of the other way depends on movement. It depends on change. It depends on one partner entering the other's world, and then both of them navigating the consequences of that decision. But Jenny and Sumit's storyline often feels like it's standing still. Jenny has already made the life-changing move. She has already left the United States. She has already sacrificed stability, comfort, and familiarity to be with Sumit. The problem is that Sumit's side of the equation never seems to fully catch up. He doesn't move forward in the same decisive way. He doesn't create a new stable reality with Jenny that justifies the magnitude of what she gave up. Instead, their story keeps circling back to whether Sumit is ready to prioritize his wife over his parents, whether he's serious about independence, whether he's willing to commit to a future that doesn't revolve around family approval, and whether Jenny can keep living in a state of emotional uncertainty. that emotional imbalance is a huge reason their storyline feels like the opposite of the show's premise. The Other Way is supposed to be about building a life in the foreign partner's country, but in Jenny and Sumit's case, it often feels like there is no real life being built, only a life being delayed. The foundation never seems to settle. Even after marriage, even after years together, even after endless conversations about loyalty and commitment, they still appear stuck in a space where nothing is fully secure. It's almost as if the relocation happened, but the relationship never completed the transition that the move was supposed to support. And that brings up one of the most frustrating things about their arc for longtime viewers. Jenny has done the other way part of the relationship over and over again, but Sumit rarely seems to do his part in a way that creates lasting stability. She moved, she adjusted, she stayed. She endured judgment, she faced uncertainty, she lived with the reality of being an outsider in a place where she often felt unsupported by Sumit's family. She dealt with cultural barriers, loneliness, and the constant fear that Sumit would once again hesitate to stand beside her when it mattered most. In many ways, Jenny fulfilled the assignment of The Other Way. She made the leap, she took the risk, she restructured her life around the relationship. But Sumit's behavior frequently undercuts the very thing her sacrifice was supposed to accomplish. What makes that especially striking is that Jenny and Sumit are no longer in the early stages of figuring things out. This is not a fresh relationship. This is not a couple still deciding whether they can make the distance work. This is not even a couple struggling through the first year of culture shock. They've been through too much and been on television too long for their central issues to still feel this unresolved. At a certain point, the emotional question shifts from, can love survive the move, to why are we still pretending the move itself is the story? Because with Jenny and Sumit, the move is no longer the story. The move happened a long time ago. The real story is whether their marriage can function in a healthy, independent way without constantly being overshadowed by Sumit's inability to break free from the same emotional patterns. And this is where their storyline starts to feel almost like the reverse of The Other Way. The spin-off's premise suggests that moving abroad is the beginning of the challenge. For Jenny and Sumit, moving abroad feels like the one thing Jenny already accomplished, while everything else that should come after it remains suspended. In other words, The Other Way part is complete, but the relationship itself still behaves as if it's waiting for permission to begin. That's a strange place for a couple to live in after so many years together. It creates the impression that the show is no longer documenting a cultural adjustment journey, but rather documenting a stalled marriage that just happens to be located in India. Another reason Jenny and Sumit's storyline feels so disconnected from the premise is because The Other Way usually thrives on showing how couples navigate the realities of a foreign country together. That means practical compromises, long-term plans, lifestyle negotiations, career changes, visa concerns, financial pressure, and the tension of one partner trying to fit into a world that isn't naturally theirs. With Jenny and Sumit, those elements often take a back seat to one repeating emotional storyline: Sumit's family and Sumit's hesitation. Of course, family pressure is a huge part of Indian cultural expectations and absolutely belongs in the conversation. No one can deny that his parents' disapproval shaped the course of their relationship. But after years of watching the same battle play out, it can begin to feel like their storyline is less about living in India and more about remaining trapped in a single unresolved family conflict. That distinction matters because the show's premise is bigger than one conflict. The Other Way is supposed to explore what happens when love collides with an entirely different way of life. But Jenny and Sumit's story often narrows that massive concept down to one repetitive emotional bottleneck. Will Sumit stand up to his parents? Will he choose Jenny? Will he stop wavering? Will Jenny finally feel secure? Those are valid relationship questions, but they don't necessarily make for a storyline that still embodies the full spirit of the spin-off. In fact, they make the relationship feel smaller over time, not bigger. Instead of expanding into the rich, messy reality of cross-cultural married life, the storyline keeps collapsing back into the same unresolved emotional core. There's also the uncomfortable truth that Jenny and Sumit's relationship,